Hello there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with some really fun projects using a very humble supply. Wrapping paper. This fabulous design is from Paper Mart. They're our sponsor today. You can check them out online at www.papermart.com. They're your best source for packaging and more. And what's great about this paper is that it comes in 15-foot rolls, 15 by 24 inches. And it's totally user-friendly for the consumer. It's not too big. You're not going to be wrapping your presents in the same pattern from here until eternity. You could pick up a bunch of different kinds and do all sorts of wonderful projects, such as covering boxes for storage, lining the back of your bookshelves to have some seasonal fancy flair in your home. I like to use it to cover my tables at parties because it's way better looking than the cheesy plastic tablecloths you pick at the party store. This looks so much better. Today I'm going to show you how to cover those textbooks with the kids going back to school this week, and I'm also going to show you how to line some envelopes, just to give you a little more fancy flair, mold out the fancy flair in my crafting and in my home decor, in my party stuff. So let's get this party started and go to the table and cover some books and line some envelopes and all sorts of crafty goodness. Alright, here we go. Okie dokie, we are at the table. I've got my big cutting mat here. This is a quilter's cutting mat. I don't quilt, but I'm telling you what, this is so handy to have. And what I'm going to do is roll out some paper. I'm just going to do it face down because it's a little easier to handle that way. And I'm going to trim off a piece. Now this is wide enough to accommodate most textbooks as it is, but I need to make sure that I have it a little bit longer than the textbook so I have room to fold over. So I think I'm going to cut it right about here so I end up with roughly 3 inches bigger on either side of the textbooks. This, by the way, is the Artist Handbook, and it's by Ray Smith, and if I was ever going to teach a class, this would be my textbook because it covers everything from painting to printmaking, and it's just a wonderful resource for any artist to have in their craft room or their art studio. If you've ever been curious about how different things are done, pick up a copy of that if you can find it. I'm sure you can find a copy on eBay if it's out of print. I can't imagine it'd be out of print. It's such a fabulous, fabulous book. All right, and I love these quilting mats because they're so easy to cut against. So there you have it. There's my daily pick. All right, so I'm going to want to fold this up, and I want the paper to be ever so slightly bigger than the book because I'm going to need to tuck the flaps of my book into the little flaps that I fold up around it. So what I'm going to do, and this doesn't have to be perfect, I'm just kind of making a little crease on each side of the book so I can fold that down. And go on the err on the side of being a little bit bigger than a little bit tighter. It's better to have it a little bit looser than a little bit tighter. Is this coming back to you? Does this remind you of like your 3rd grade math? Covering those 3rd grade math books, because if you didn't go to school with your math book covered, you'd end up with a detention, or you miss your recess, or something horrible like that. Of course, nowadays, I'm not sure if the kids use textbooks very much. My kids haven't brought any home. They got the fancy computer softwares and stuff like that they're using at school. Oh, this is so much prettier than a brown paper bag. All right, so now you're just going to fold these flaps down. You got to make sure that they actually fold down. You don't want them too tight. It's got to be able to close. Alright, so now you could either just tape them in place like that, or you can slide them in the little flaps that are made on the end. I think it basically boils down to whether you want to use tape or not. So you can do it without tape if you do it like this. I'd probably still put a piece of tape there just to be safe. Or if you just want to fold it over, you could just tape it like that, and that would, that would slide back and forth, no problem. Just make sure you don't tape your book, because I'm sure that would be frowned upon by your school district. So there we go. You know what? You can also use this to cover your trashy romance novels so nobody knows what you're reading. Haha! How's that for some clever craftiness? All right, so there we go. We've covered a textbook. That looks way better than any textbook I ever took to school, just saying. All right, now we're going to line some envelopes. Now, you usually get 2 different kinds of envelopes. You get envelopes with pointy bits, or you have envelopes with a flat flap. So, it's very easy to do either kind. What I'm going to do, just to make it kind of... Let's do the square one first. That's the easiest one. You can even just use the square like that. You could just cut it a square. I'm actually just going to trace it here. With I'm not even going to trace it. I'm just going to slice it with my knife. Like that. Yeah, it would probably be best to use a ruler or a paper trimmer for this, but it's not really that complicated of a process, as you can see. And I don't want to cut it as long as my envelope because I'm going to have to offset it a little bit. And plus it wastes the paper because you can't even see that. I'm just going to cut a piece off like that. And I might need to trim that down a little bit on the sides. We'll see how it fits into our envelope. You know, it's not really a scientific process. And I think I will round my little corner there. So we'll see if that will cut good in the paper cutter. There we go. I'm going to slide this in. And I would glue it down. So it's just kind of offset like that. I think I will trim the edges a little bit. This is a plastic template, but I find it doesn't really get marred when I use my X-Acto knife because it's so thick that my knife can just kind of run across the edge of it. Pay no attention to my dog in the corner. She's, I think the chickens are troubling her. The chickens are loose out back and she's been just staring at them through the door. The door is open, she can go out, but she likes to fuss about it a little bit. And then I just adhere it down with just a little bit of glue on the back of the flaps. Isn't that pretty? So you do the same thing for a flat one. I'm just going to cut off a piece of this paper because having it attached to the roll is a little bit cumbersome. To do an envelope with a flat flap, all you need to do is cut a rough rectangle of paper the same width as your envelope. It doesn't need to be the same length. It just needs to be able to go into your envelope a little bit further than that flap. Any more than that, you're just kind of wasting paper. So I've already gone ahead and cut that. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to flip over my paper in my envelope and I am going to come in about, I would say, 1/2 inch, and I'm going to cut that same angle. I'm just going to, you can trace it and cut it with scissors, or I'm just going to go right with my straight edge and just cut it. And then I'll just cut the edge there against the envelope, trying not to cut through my envelope too. And then I'm going to slide the envelope over again, about 1/2 inch or so, and I'm going to cut off the excess the same way I did before. I feel like I'm all thumbs today. Just like that. Again, you could trace it and cut it with scissors, which might be a little bit easier, but I've got my knife and straight edge right here already, so I'm just going to do it this way. Alright, and now you want to place it in your envelope. If you want, you can round the corners. I don't know if my corner rounder can do it on that. It's kind of a weird angle. Probably will have to use scissors for that. If I want to round them, I think I do. I think I'll just do a quick rounding. And then slide it into the envelope. Just like so. And again, you want to do a little bit of glue on the edge just to keep it where you want it. And then you just fold it down. You just want to make sure that you don't cover up that adhesive flap right there. So there, that's basically it. Textbooks, envelopes, so easy and so fun. I do hope you give it a try with your favorite wrapping paper. And please check out our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can check them out online at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.